I said, mate, what's your mate doing in Sri Lanka? He said, oh, he's training to be a Buddhist monk. I said, whoop-de-doo. Great. That's a real winner for that spinner, you know what I mean? I said, what's he doing? You know, going on and levitating off the ground up there? He said, yeah, he's right into it. Totally dedicated to Buddha and Buddhism. Well, then I flew out of there, and I thought, well, I'm out of here. I'm not going to sleep in the idle room, you know what I mean? I'm going, I'm out. So I said, I'm getting the ticket out. Sorry, I'll see you later. So I flew into Melbourne. Flew into Melbourne, and my Australian mate, surfing mate, who was as doped up normally as I was, picks me up with his girlfriend in his ute. As we're driving back, he said, wrap your laughing gears around this, China, you know? Yeah. I'm going, no. He looked at me and said, he nearly drove off the road. He said, what? And I said, no. He said, what's happened? I said, I'm not taking drugs anymore. He said, you're not a narc, are you? Wondering if the police had kind of grabbed me, you know what I mean, to infiltrate the underworld and take the boys out because I knew too many of them. So I said, no, I'm not a narc. I'm straight. I'm clean. He said, what's happened to you? I said, well, wait for this, son. This'll blow your lights out. I've just seen God, mate, been chased by a whole bunch of demons, and he nearly went off the road. He said, do you still surf? And I said, well, I think so. Took me for a surf, not interested in it. He said, well, mate. I said, I'm going up to Sydney to see my girlfriend. There's not much fun hanging around here. So I flew up to Sydney. As I flew up to Sydney, my girlfriend picks me up with the dress about here, you know what I mean, and says, here we go. You know, I'm going, whoa, you know what I mean? She said, you're not queer, are you? You haven't gone gay on me? I said, no, but I don't feel right about jumping into the sack. She went, what? She said, you still go to nightclubs and drink? I said, well, I think so. I don't know. Heck, I don't know. I'm not jumping to bed, I'm not surfing, I'm praying every day, I'm casting demons out of idols. I mean, hello, it's a change of lifestyle here. I said, well, where do you go? She said, I go to a nightclub where men at work are playing, and they've got a new group called Midnight Oil down in Narrabeen. I said, Midnight Oil? Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah, I'll come down. So I went down, walked into the bar, turned around, got my beer. As I'm pouring my beer, turned around, looked to where the band was. Here's the band playing full belt, you know what I mean? Look up above them, and there's a blinking, like a bat cave of demons hanging right above their heads. I go, what? Just hanging out, mate, as a flipping den. It's a full-on, it's a pit. I just turn around. The only time I turn around and think to myself, well, I might as well drink my beer before I go. I thought, no, I can't even drink my beer. I feel sick in my stomach hanging around in this hellhole. I started walking out. The only other time I ever walked out of a pub was when I had a barman proposition me, and I brought a beer, walked into a gay bar by mistake, and this boy had a crack at me. He nearly wore the jug in his face, you know what I mean? I turned around and had another sweet little boy here have another go at me. I nearly hit him, and I walked out not drinking my beer. It's the only time I ever not drunk my beer. Once when I had two gay boys have a crack at me as I just walked in. Now I've got, and God loves gays, but they're demon-possessed. So they all speak the same. They're demons. And you better watch out if you hit the male part of the demon. They're nasty ones. But they'll come out in Jesus' name, if the man wants to be free. So I'm standing here, and I'm walking out. My girlfriend, who's just freaking out, she's running behind me going, now what are you doing? I'm saying, I'm going home. She said, well, you didn't even have your beer. I said, I'm not going there. It's full of demons. She looked at me. She said, whoa. She said, where are you sleeping? I said, I'm sleeping on the couch. You can do what you like. Can I use your phone? She said, what for? I said, I'm ringing home. She said, what for? I said, I'm flying home tomorrow. I'm not staying here any longer. I'm out of here. So I jumped on the plane, rang up, got the whole thing sorted, jumped on the plane, flying. I'm listening to, I'm listening to Supertramp on my Walkman. As I'm listening to this band flying across the Pacific, I'm thinking to myself, what on earth what are you? I mean, you're doing this, you're doing that. I mean, you're seeing demons, you're having open-eye visions of end time. I've seen end time stuff. I'm seeing planes that I see in these visions 20 years ago that I'm seeing now flying on the air. War machines. I'm seeing stuff that's like 21st century war machines in the air over Australia. I see a whole apocalyptic thing happening in Australia. I'm actually going along in this plane thinking, what on earth happened to me? I'm listening to this Supertramp, and I hear a voice say to me, you're a reborn Christian. take the Walkman off, look around. No one within, there's no one. I'm thinking, reborn Christian, what the heck's that mean? You've got to die and come back to life? I don't know what any of this stuff means. I don't know. So I put my Walkman on, flew back into the airport with this word, reborn Christian, reborn. I think, well, I'm a Christian. I'm praying. I'm not sleeping around. I'm not taking drugs. I have to be Christian. Christians don't do that, do they? Hopefully they don't. So I fly in, go through, normally they would have strip searched me, because the countries I've been in and how I looked, and my surfboards and the hair down here, they would have normally done the full thing. But I went straight through customs, straight through immigration. My parents are there, my girlfriend's there. Another one. When I left 2 years before, well, that's how I operated. It was that one and make sure you keep the whole thing going. So I walk back in, and she jumps in the car with my parents, and my parents said, "You look thin, you don't look very good." And I said, "Yeah, I've been through a fairly, rough patch there." Jump in the car, we're driving back down the motorway, back home, and my father's driving along. He said, "Ian, you've been away for 2 years. You must have had some amazing things happen in your life. Can you just share one of the experiences that you had while you were away? Could you possibly just kind of give us a little bit of an insight of one of the most exciting experiences that happened to you over the last 2 years, of all the stories and things that you've seen?" I thought, well, Dad, it's pretty hard to put it in words, but I've just had what appears to be a life after death. I've been up in the glorified in the presence of God, been to hell, and I'm a reborn Christian. I'm thinking, why did I say that for? As I said that, my father demonically manifests. His eyes go red, he nearly snaps the steering wheel and nearly drives off the motorway. My father was a Mason. He had a rebirth ritual through the lodge, where they do Maha Bone Jabalon and do this whole Shibboleth stuff, be feigned death, hoodwinked, put in a coffin and brought back to life through the power of the Masonic order. Well, I have no idea that my dear dad, who thinks he's a Christian, is actually now involved in a cult and has a demon through the initiation rites of the 3rd degree, and he is now manifesting demonically, and I'm the first person I've actually opened up to and told him I'm a reborn Christian on planet Earth. I don't even know what the term means. My father's eyes, who are vivid red, totally demonised, look up into the mirror. His face is contorted. In the mirror, I see the reflection out of the mirror. I hate to see him the full blow. He then, through the mirror, as he's trying to drive and control his anger, said, "I never, ever want you to talk about this again." I'm thinking, well, there goes the conversation. I've come home, told my dad what I've just seen. I've got my father demonically oppressed going off at me. So I look out the window and look at the cows and lovely scenery going back down home. My girlfriend, who had become a Christian a few weeks before in a Pentecostal church, thinks someone has told me and I'm just mocking her out and making a joke of it because she didn't think it's possible for me to be born again. She just didn't even have a clue. My mother, who hasn't even heard the word born again, doesn't even know what it is. She's a Christian because she prayed in the bedroom and gave her life over to Jesus as a young woman. She thinks, well, could Ian be a Christian? You know what I mean? Like, so Mum's kind of sitting there wondering why Dad's spinning off and going in here. And so the whole car goes quiet. We get home. I give the presents out. I go to bed. In the middle of the night, a whole bunch of demons attacking me in my parents' house. At this point, I'm fairly irate. I stand up. My mother has kept my bedroom since I was a 16-year-old boy, I think, when I left. A 17-year-old boy since I left and went to university. I'm now a 26-year-old man. So she's kept my room with a surf post. It's almost like stepping back into time warp. You know what I mean? I'm stepping back into a 17-year-old's bedroom with all the posters and the whole thing. So I'm stepping back into what's normal, home, New Zealand, mum and dad's place. Next minute, I've got a pack of demons attacking me and my parents' household. The Bible says that when the strong man, that's when the head of the house is actually under the power of evil, guess what? Guess who comes in? So I, unrestrained in my vocabulary description of what they should do with themselves, let rip. So I basically give them a good dose of my tongue. Next minute I hear a yell from across the hallway. Unfortunately, my bedroom door is open, and across the hallway is called the master bedroom, and that doorway is open. And I've got my father going, "What the are you doing in there?" Yelling and screaming, "What do you think you're doing?"